The Armour All Summer Grill, your off-season fix of V8 supercars news and views, with Grant Rowley and Cameron McConville.
The Boxing Day edition of the Armour All Summer Grill looks at Bathurst, the great race, and what a great race it was this year. Garth Tander took his third win alongside rookie Nick Percat, but they both had to do it the difficult way, holding off a charge from Craig Lowndes and the Team Vodafone Commodore in the final stages of the race. I spoke to Tander earlier on and he said this year's great race win was his best.
A lot of people have asked whether that's the most special, and I feel very fortunate to have won that race 3 times now. And I guess at the moment that one is probably the most special. I get your first is probably the most surreal. Second was after such a long break, it was satisfying, but the third being special more so because sharing the car with Nick, it was his first 1,000 start, and a lot of people said that he didn't have enough experience and that the car wasn't going to be fast enough and that we weren't going to be real contenders, and we managed to prove all week that that wasn't the case. So you know, HRT's 200th win at Bathurst 21 years after its first ever win at Bathurst as well was pretty special, and share Nick's first ever win in a V8 supercar. Hadn't even won in the Fujitsu series yet. It was pretty cool. And then obviously we crossed the line. That was my 50th win as well. So all those numbers lining up on a pretty special day with such a close race at the end makes it pretty special.
Nick was obviously a standout. Did he perform where you thought he did, or did he go beyond expectation?
No, he performed exactly as we expected. You know, we knew he'd be fast enough, and we knew that he'd be mature enough, and he proved that. He made one small mistake all day where he just glanced the wall, and then his recovery from that and the way that he got his head back in the game and didn't make any more mistakes, and basically caught the Vodafone cars again to put us in the lead at the second last pit stop, you know, really set the race up for us. So he performed exactly as we'd hoped, as we expected, and certainly outperformed a lot of other people, because we now see other teams up and down pit lane frantically signing up Fujitsu drivers for the future.
An incredibly close finish to the race as well. What was your feeling as you saw that 888 car wheeling you in over those last few laps?
Oh, look, I knew that the last restart was about 15, 16 laps to go. I knew that Craig was going to be the threat. I knew I had more speed than Murph and Winterbottom and those guys that were between myself and Craig. It was just a matter of how quickly he could get through the field, and our car probably wasn't as good at the end of that stint as it had been previously in the day, and Craig's car was actually probably a bit stronger than it had been all day at the end of the stint. So everything was conspiring against us. So I was managing the gap to Craig regardless where he was position-wise. And then when he got to me with those last couple of laps, it was just a matter of making no mistakes, putting the car right in the right position for me, which was going to be the wrong position for Craig. And I knew from earlier in the day where my strengths were and his strengths were, and I just played to my strengths and defended our weaknesses, and it all played out in the end.
As you can tell, Garth Tander was stoked with the win at Bathurst, as was the team's operations manager Mike Henry. I spoke to him in Sydney.
Mike Henry, Bathurst winner this year, a couple of months down the track. What's the feeling like?
That still was a great win. It's still an ace feeling, and I don't think that one will ever go away. It was a great result for us. So Bathurst was one of those events where every year you go there, it's a big day out, isn't it? So to come away with that sort of result was pretty cool, and yeah, it'll be hard to ever top that. So look forward to going back. It was a great weekend for the team.
And rookie Nick Percat certainly can't go unmentioned.
No wins in the Fujitsu series, but victory at Mount Panorama, that's probably a good substitute.
It's a small substitute, but I'll take it. It's pretty cool. Obviously, between the biggest event we have is better than winning any Fujitsu race, and a lot of them would probably want to win Bathurst more than a main series race. So it's a massive, I know it was a massive opportunity for me, and obviously we somehow grabbed it with both hands and got it across the line first. So I can't thank obviously the whole of Holden Racing team and Walking Trail Racing enough for giving me the opportunity, and Garth for having faith in me. So it's happy days, good year. It kind of substitutes for everything else that's happened.
Now that a couple of months have passed since you won Bathurst, what's the feeling like?
Obviously, it's still a very good feeling. It's never going to go away. It's you still get people coming up and congratulating you that you haven't seen, and even though it's a few months ago, it still feels kind of like yesterday for me, because I've only had one race meeting between then. So I don't think you'll ever kind of get over how big it is, and just standing up on top of the podium and seeing all those people in front of you kind of all cheering for the Holden Racing team is unbelievable, and I'll never forget that afternoon, and I can't wait to get back there now next year.
That was Nick Percat speaking about the feeling on the Bathurst podium. Cam, you've spent a little bit of time on the Bathurst podium. but never with that big trophy. What would it mean to actually win the great race?
Oh, look, it'd mean everything, Grant, for my motor racing career. It's all about the enduros. Obviously, I'm racing, Bundy Ute and different things, but hats off to those two guys. But the wrong car won, really. We joke about it in the HRT trailer. Look, I desperately want to come back, have another crack at it. Fairy tale for Nick, though, unbelievable. But they both deserved it, and it was a great race. Watching it in the garage with Lounsey charging hard at the end, I thought he'd probably get there. But we'll be back next year, and hopefully I can stand on that top step.
That's the Bathurst 1000. We'll have more on the Armour All Summer Grill tomorrow.